In 2026, Korean drama viewers will witness an unusually interesting situation where one of the industry's most stable real-life celebrity couples, IU and Lee Jong-suk, return to television at the same time, not as co-stars or collaborators, but as leads of two separate fantasy romance projects that are inevitably drawing comparisons due to their timing, scale, and genre. Publicly dating since 2022, and known for keeping their relationship private and low-key, IU and Lee Jong-suk have largely avoided overlapping professional narratives, which is why their simultaneous comeback in competing fantasy dramas feels less like a planned rivalry and more like an ironic coincidence created by the industry itself. IU will headline Perfect Crown, an MBC Friday-Saturday drama scheduled for release in 2026, marking her return to historical storytelling after the emotional success of When Life Gives You Tangerines, while deliberately choosing a genre that places political ambition and social hierarchy at the center of the narrative rather than conventional romance. In Perfect Crown, IU plays Sung Hee-ju, a chaebol heiress who possesses wealth, intelligence, and influence, but lacks the noble status required to truly control her future, leading her to enter a calculated marriage with a royal prince in order to gain access to power, legitimacy, and long-term security within a rigid social system. This role continues a clear pattern in IU's acting choices, where she often portrays women who actively negotiate their circumstances instead of passively accepting them, allowing the romance to emerge gradually as a consequence of power dynamics rather than presenting love as the initial driving force of the story. The drama also pairs her with Byun Woo-seok, whose rapid rise following Lovely Runner has positioned him as one of the most closely watched male leads of the new generation, making their on-screen chemistry a major point of anticipation, especially given the contrast between IU's seasoned presence and Baeon's current popularity surge. At the same time, Lee Jong-suk will return through The Remarried Empress, a Disney Plus original series adapted from one of the most popular fantasy web novels in recent years, which already arrives with a dedicated global fan base and strong expectations regarding both casting and visual world building. The series follows the story of an empress who is divorced and publicly humiliated after her husband, the emperor, falls for another woman, only for her to reclaim her dignity by choosing remarriage on her own terms, shifting the narrative away from betrayal and toward emotional recovery and self-respect. Lee Jong-suk plays Heinrich, the Prince of the Western Kingdom, a character whose charm and emotional sincerity serve as a counterbalance to the cruelty of the Eastern Empire, positioning him as both a romantic lead and a symbol of the Empress's second chance at happiness. Starring opposite Shin Min-ah, the drama leans heavily into grand fantasy aesthetics, royal symbolism, and moral clarity, with early teasers already generating significant buzz for Lee Jong-suk's regal styling and screen presence, which many viewers see as a return to his strength in emotionally expressive lead roles. While both projects fall under the fantasy romance umbrella, they approach the genre from distinctly different perspectives, with Perfect Crown focusing on ambition, political maneuvering, and the cost of power, while The Remarried Empress centers on emotional healing, dignity, and the idea of reclaiming one's narrative after betrayal. IU's drama unfolds on broadcast television with an emphasis on layered character development and social commentary, whereas Lee Jong-suk's project benefits from a global streaming platform that prioritizes visual scale, existing fandoms, and international reach, naturally inviting different types of audience engagement. What makes this situation particularly fascinating for viewers is not the idea of competition between IU and Lee Jong-suk as a couple, but the way their careers have reached parallel moments of maturity, where each actor is independently carrying a high-profile production that reflects their individual strengths and long-term artistic choices. Rather than diminishing one another, their simultaneous projects highlight how two successful artists can exist side by side in the same industry, following different creative paths while maintaining personal stability away from the spotlight. As 2026 approaches, the conversation around IU and Lee Jong-suk's on-screen rivalry ultimately says more about audience curiosity than actual competition, because what viewers are really watching is how two well-established stars continue to evolve, experiment, and remain relevant without relying on their real-life relationship for attention. In the end, The real question is not which drama will outperform the other, but which story will resonate more deeply with viewers looking for meaning, escape, and emotional connection in a year already packed with fantasy narratives.